You've probably noticed something that's hard to explain, but it happens over and over right before your eyes. Some men seem to possess a magnetic aura, a force that makes people want to be around them, listen to them, and follow them almost instinctively. These are individuals who, without saying a single word, exude confidence, power, and attraction. The question you've probably asked yourself more than once is, how do they do it? What rules or secrets do these men apply that seem to have everything under control? Strauss, one of the most recognized experts in social dynamics and attraction, has spent decades researching and breaking down this exact question. According to Strauss, what separates these attractive men from the rest has nothing to do with money, physical appearance, or luck. Instead, it's a set of internal and external principles that they follow to the letter. And if you're here now, listening to these words, it means you're ready to learn these rules and start applying them in your life, starting today. The first major rule that attractive men deeply understand is that real attraction starts from the inside out. Most men mistakenly believe that they need external things to be attractive: expensive clothes, luxury cars, or a flawless physique. But Strauss has proven in his studies that this is completely false. In fact, the need for external validation is a clear sign of insecurity. A truly attractive man doesn't seek constant approval or validation from others, because he has already validated himself first. Strauss emphasizes that before trying to please others, you must genuinely like and accept yourself. This doesn't mean ignoring your flaws, but rather accepting them with maturity and composure. Have you ever wondered how you truly see yourself? How much time do you spend trying to impress others instead of working on your self-awareness and self-worth? An attractive man fully understands who he is, knows his strengths and weaknesses, and isn't afraid to show vulnerability when appropriate, as it makes him incredibly human and authentic. Radical authenticity is exactly what separates an attractive man from the rest. Strauss argues that pretending to be someone you're not is the fastest way to lose respect and attraction. People can immediately sense when someone is not genuine. In contrast, when you live from your absolute authenticity, you project confidence, trust, and strength, irresistible qualities for those around you. Another fundamental rule that attractive men master is controlling their emotions at all times. You've probably seen situations where someone loses their temper easily at a criticism, a rejection, or a confrontation. How does it make you feel to see someone lose control? The answer is clear: no respect or admiration, just discomfort and rejection. An attractive man, according to Strauss, never lets his emotions control him. On the contrary, he masters his emotions. This doesn't mean denying your feelings, but rather acknowledging and expressing them in a mature and controlled way. Imagine a difficult social situation, an awkward conversation, a malicious comment, or even a direct rejection. The average man will react impulsively or with discomfort, while the attractive man breathes deeply and responds with calm, clarity, and dignity, projecting a magnetic presence that leaves a positive, lasting impression. Strauss emphasizes that it's not the absence of emotions that makes you attractive, but your ability to manage and express them with maturity. This emotional stability creates an irresistible aura, because in a world filled with emotional chaos, people will always seek refuge in someone stable. One of the great rules that every attractive man masters to perfection is the ability to take risks with boldness and confidence. We live in a society that constantly seeks what's safe and predictable. But according to Strauss, staying in that comfort zone is exactly what prevents you from growing and projecting real attraction. Every time you choose to take calculated risks, whether it's approaching someone you're interested in, expressing a sincere opinion even if it's controversial, or making tough decisions in your personal or professional life, you're showing courage. And courage is one of the most attractive qualities to anyone, especially those seeking someone authentic and determined. This courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act even while feeling fear. Strauss teaches that the most attractive men aren't the ones who never feel insecure, but the ones who move forward even when they have doubts. Think about your life right now. How many opportunities have you missed because you didn't take a risk, because you didn't dare to be yourself, or because you feared rejection? Rejection, according to Strauss, is precisely another element you must learn to master. While most men avoid rejection as if it's the worst thing that can happen, the attractive man accepts it as an inevitable part of life and personal growth. He knows that every rejection is simply a sign that he's moving forward, that he's taking real action toward his goals. He doesn't fear hearing no because he understands that each rejection brings him closer to the yes he truly desires. Do you remember the last time you didn't approach someone because you were afraid of rejection? What would have happened if you had faced that situation and acted? You would have probably gained confidence in yourself, no matter the outcome, because the truth that Strauss shares is powerful. The worst defeat is not receiving a no, but living with the doubt of what could have been. Attraction also involves profound social intelligence. A truly attractive man knows how to read with precision the emotions, intentions, and needs of others. This is not about manipulation, but rather being empathetic and aware of the social environment. Notice how the most attractive men interact with others. They always seem to know exactly what to say and how to act at any given moment. This is because they have developed a sharp ability to understand the emotional and body language of those around them. Neil Strauss argues that this emotional and social intelligence not only improves your relationships, but also amplifies your attractiveness. When you're able to create authentic connections with others, whether in friendships, romantic relationships, or professional settings, you automatically become someone unforgettable, someone others want to share their time and energy with. One essential thing Neil Strauss discovered that sets truly attractive men apart from the rest is their ability to convey value without explicitly talking about themselves. The average man often falls into the trap of boasting about his achievements or excessively highlighting his qualities, mistakenly believing that this makes him more attractive. However, men who master Strauss's teachings understand that the more you try to directly impress someone, the more insecure you appear. True attraction arises when you allow others to discover your value for themselves. Look around you. Surely you know a man who enters a room and, without speaking much, grabs the attention of everyone there. How does he do it? He simply presents himself calmly and confidently, allowing others to discover his qualities over time. He's not anxious to prove who he is, nor does he feel the need to validate himself in front of others. According to Neil Strauss, an attractive man knows perfectly well that his value is revealed in the way he acts, how he treats others, and the calm yet confident way he moves through the world. Neil also highlights something that very few men fully understand: the absolute power of body language. According to his research, up to 80% of our communication is nonverbal. That is, you can say the right words, but if your body language doesn't align with those words, you'll lose credibility instantly. An attractive man is aware of every movement he makes, from how he walks to how he maintains eye contact. Every small gesture speaks volumes about his confidence and self-assurance. For example, while the average man enters a space with some discomfort or uncertainty, the man who masters these principles walks with calmness and decisiveness. His movements are slow and calculated, not rushed or nervous. When he speaks to someone, he holds eye contact calmly without making the other person uncomfortable, showing genuine interest. These seemingly insignificant details are exactly what generate magnetism and make other people feel the natural need to approach him. Another powerful teaching from Strauss that sets the attractive man apart is the ability to create deep connections instead of superficial ones. Many men believe they must impress at all costs, but Neil argues that creating a real connection is far more powerful than any superficial trick. When you establish an authentic conversation focused on the other person, creating a genuine emotional bond, you automatically become more attractive, memorable, and influential. Think about how many times you've been in a conversation where you feel like the other person isn't really listening to you, but just waiting for their turn to talk about themselves. That kind of interaction doesn't create connection, it creates distance. An attractive man, according to Neil Strauss, listens attentively, showing genuine interest in what's being said. He asks questions that deepen the conversation, demonstrating that he understands and values the emotions and opinions of others. Strauss also frequently talks about the power of emotional independence as a key to attraction. This means not relying on external approval or reacting desperately to someone's attention, or lack of attention. While most men obsess over gaining approval or attention, the attractive man remains emotionally detached. He doesn't feel desperate to gain anything from anyone because he has a rich and fulfilling life, independent of external opinions or validation. This emotional independence immediately generates immense attraction because people feel they can be with someone who doesn't depend on them to be happy or feel complete. Have you ever noticed how the most attractive people are often those who don't need anything from you but enjoy sharing time with you? This is precisely the power of emotional independence. something that Strauss considers essential for becoming a truly attractive man. Another vital characteristic that Neil Strauss reveals in his research on attractive men is clarity in their life's purpose. A man without direction or a defined purpose doesn't project attraction. On the contrary, he generates insecurity and uncertainty in others. In contrast, a man who clearly knows what he wants to achieve in life, what his goals are, and the path he wants to take, naturally radiates a very powerful attraction. Think for a moment. Do you clearly know your purpose? Do you have clear and defined goals? If the answer is yes, you are automatically projecting attraction because people feel confidence and admiration toward those with clear direction. If you don't have clarity about your purpose yet, now you know exactly what to work on to boost your personal attraction in a profound and genuine way. Strauss also affirms that the most attractive men are experts at managing the mystery surrounding themselves, not in a forced or theatrical way, but as a natural result of their interesting, complex, and active lives. Mystery isn't about hiding who you are, but about having such a rich inner and outer world that you can't reveal everything all at once, even if you wanted to. This naturally creates curiosity in those around you, inviting them to want to discover more about you. Have you noticed how people who immediately reveal everything about themselves quickly lose the attention of others? This happens because they eliminate all curiosity. The attractive man that Strauss describes has a life full of activities, interests, and passions, which he reveals little by little, always keeping something fascinating to discover. This naturally generates interest and desire in others to be a part of his life. Neil Strauss discovered that truly attractive men possess an attribute that goes beyond what is visible at first glance, something that could almost be considered intangible, yet is extremely powerful: the ability to subtly lead every interaction. We're not talking about imposing or dominating aggressively, but about guiding each conversation and situation with elegance and calm, creating an environment where others naturally feel comfortable following your direction. Think for a moment about the last time you saw a man walk into a place and automatically become the center of attention. He probably didn't do anything loud or exaggerated. He simply knew how to create an atmosphere around him that invited others to follow him. This happens because that man masters the art of leading with a mix of humility, strength, and gentleness, allowing those around him to feel confident in his presence. Another crucial characteristic that Neil Strauss always mentions about attractive men is their ability to set clear boundaries, but in an empathetic and assertive way. While many men fear setting boundaries for fear of offending or being rejected, a man who masters his natural attraction knows that setting clear boundaries doesn't push people away. In fact, it draws them in even more because it generates genuine respect. Think about it clearly. Every time you say yes to something you really want to say no to, you lose a little respect for yourself, and you also lose respect in the eyes of others. Attractive men, according to Strauss, are masters at saying no when something doesn't align with their truth, and they do it without guilt or unnecessary remorse, thereby generating genuine and deep attraction. Neil Strauss also highlights something that radically distinguishes the most attractive men from those who struggle to get attention: the power of strategic silence. While many men feel uncomfortable with silence and desperately try to fill every second of a conversation, truly attractive men know that, in many cases, holding silence is precisely what generates the most attraction. A man who masters attraction understands that pauses have power. He doesn't feel anxious in the brief moments of silence, but uses it strategically to show serenity and control, inviting others to fill that space with interest and curiosity. Every time you hold a brief silence after saying something important, you're giving more weight to your words and creating genuine expectation and interest in those who are listening. Strauss also clearly points out that truly attractive men understand how to manage and use humor intelligently. But we're not talking about forced jokes to get people to like them. We're talking about genuine, intelligent, and subtle humor that demonstrates self-confidence. An attractive man isn't afraid to laugh at himself in appropriate situations because he knows that showing vulnerability and humility automatically makes him more human and approachable. Well-used humor breaks emotional barriers and creates instant rapport. When someone smiles with you or laughs sincerely at something you've said, it creates an immediate bond that's hard to achieve otherwise. Strauss argues that the ability to make people laugh naturally is one of the most attractive traits a man can develop because it eliminates any uncomfortable tension and establishes an authentic connection with others. Another key teaching from Neil Strauss that clearly distinguishes the most attractive men from the average ones is the ability to adapt and flow with unexpected or unpredictable situations. Attraction isn't just about maintaining total control at all times. It's also about the ability to adapt gracefully when things don't go as expected. A man who projects attraction never falls apart or loses his composure in the face of adversity or the unexpected. On the contrary, he takes these situations as opportunities to showcase his emotional flexibility, wit, and problem-solving ability. Strauss emphasizes that the way you react to surprises and difficulties says much more about your character and attractiveness than how you behave when everything goes according to plan. Neil Strauss also reveals another key element. Attractive men are excellent verbal communicators, capable of using precise words that emotionally resonate with those who are listening. They know how to express clearly what they feel or think, without the need for complicated speeches, but in a simple, direct, and sincere way. This allows them to connect emotionally with people naturally and deeply. Think about it. How many times have you had a superficial conversation that didn't lead anywhere? The reason is that it lacked emotional depth. The attractive man that Strauss describes isn't afraid to express emotions clearly, honestly, and authentically, which immediately creates a sense of closeness and trust with those he interacts with. Another crucial quality that attractive men deeply master, according to Neil Strauss, is healthy detachment. This detachment doesn't imply disinterest, but rather the understanding that you shouldn't obsessively cling to any result or person. An attractive man fully lives every interaction, but also knows when to let go and allow things to flow naturally, without attachment or desperation. This healthy detachment immediately generates deep attraction because it conveys emotional security, independence, and freedom. People can clearly sense when someone isn't desperate for their attention or approval, and paradoxically, that makes them want to give it to him even more. Strauss also emphasizes that attractive men know how to handle compliments and attention without letting their ego inflate excessively. Unlike many men who lose their attractiveness the moment they receive attention, the man who masters these rules knows how to accept compliments with genuine humility and gratitude, demonstrating emotional maturity. This attractive humility generates even greater respect from those around him because they perceive that he doesn't need constant validation to maintain his confidence intact. Finally, something essential that Strauss highlights in the psychology of attraction is the power of holistic self-care. An attractive man doesn't just take care of his physical appearance, but also his mind and emotions. He understands that investing in his personal growth, cultivating genuine interests, and pursuing his own passions is key to maintaining his attraction authentically and sustainably. This holistic self-care is attractive precisely because it demonstrates self-respect and self-love. People want to be around someone who respects himself, who takes care of himself in every way, and who naturally invites others to do the same. And it's precisely here that you discover the real power of applying these teachings in your day-to-day life, integrating them into your essence until they become a natural part of who you are. Neil Strauss firmly asserts that truly attractive men never stop expanding their horizons, seeking new experiences and challenges. They don't do this just to impress others, but because of their genuine desire to grow as human beings. This continuous growth and constant pursuit of excellence not only makes them magnetic to those around them, but also gives them deep personal satisfaction. If you truly want to become an attractive man according to Neil Strauss's teachings, you must commit to this life philosophy. You must commit to cultivating your skills, keeping your mind open, and always seeking new ways to learn and develop. Because an attractive man understands something essential, you never truly stop learning. There is always something new to discover, always an opportunity to become a better version of yourself. He highlights that an attractive man never competes with others, only with himself. His goal is not to surpass anyone else, but to surpass himself every day. He knows that the only real competition that matters is against his previous self. It's this attitude that makes him so fascinating and admirable in the eyes of others. Imagine how your life would change if you adopted this mindset. Think about how your personal relationships, career, and self-confidence would improve if you decided, starting today, to live by these fundamental rules of authentic attraction that Neil Strauss has studied in depth. Now ask yourself honestly, are you ready to start living life with this new perspective? If this message has resonated deeply with you, I invite you to share it with those who could also benefit from it. You probably know someone who is searching for exactly these answers, someone who wants to improve their life, feel more attractive, secure, and confident. Share it now and let this message reach those who truly need it. Also, I want to hear from you. Leave your comment below and tell me which of these rules surprised you the most, which one you plan to apply from now on, or if you have any personal experience related to the topic. Your interaction not only enriches this community, but it also greatly helps this message reach and transform more people like you. Remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you'll be the first to receive valuable content that I will continue to create especially for you. Every time you interact by liking, commenting, or sharing, you make it possible for more people to access information that can truly change their lives forever. Your support is essential. Together, we can build a strong community of people who seek to grow, improve, and live fully from their authenticity, because in the end, life is all about that. Becoming the best version of ourselves and positively influencing the world around us. Thank you for being here, for being part of this community, and for allowing this message to deeply resonate in your life. I look forward to seeing you in the comments.